Hey, hi, hello. I've just started recording footage. We talked to this man. He wants us to go do some airship stuff because of Sky Pirates, and also
messed up the dragon's relations for power by taking a dragon's eye out, and dragons pursued humans for hundreds of years after, and humans turned themselves to demigods to dominate the war with near ultimate power. Wouldn't that be messed up, or what?
That would be pretty messed up, Rin. Anyway, good lord. And thank you for subscribing, Sandra. Hello, hi, welcome. VOD, edited. You're watching this on YouTube, probably. Twitch chat isn't. We're gonna go chase down some gay sky pirates who've been stealing ships or something or other. I wasn't really paying attention when he was talking to me. But it sounded fun. So that's where we're gonna go. I can imagine, Rin. I can imagine. Ooh, hello. Yokai. Oh shit, the mounts are coming out. A supply airship has gone missing, you say? Oh, that would certainly explain why provisions were so late in arriving. I did in fact spy a vessel charting an erratic course northward a short while ago. As it seemed disinclined to make port here, I paid a little mind. Not the most compelling piece of evidence, I grant you, but I've witnessed naught else of interest. I'd suggest you investigate the landmass to the north. Rest assured, I'll send word if I spy any other sign of our errant supply ship. Okay. I will say, I am quite excited for, like, Rin in particular has been sending me screenshots and shit of all the stuff they're promising for the next expansion and, like, the graphical updates. And boy howdy, like, just the shader updates are gonna make a big difference to even, like, the old areas of this game, I think. 2 dye channels. Oh yeah, like, you people are gonna make some cool glam shit for me to look at. Oh, hey. Yep, you look the part. Anyone else? Oh, can't go aboard. Fair enough. Oh, is that like a school uniform? I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that they have those. Right, talk to the NPC. Aid, I say! These villains mean to plunder my cargo! What we got here, then? You think you're some sort of hero, do you? Little bit, yeah. Kinda. Well, and you want might if we mates here join the fun. Make for a more heroic tale, won't it? The tale of how 3 sky pirates fed a meddling little shite his own bloody eyes. Do I get to fight them, or is someone's gonna come swooping in? I see. Whee! What? Oh, God, I know that ship. It's... That looks familiar, actually, kinda. So, you're the scrags what have been dragging our good name through the mud. Yeah, you're Red Bill Leopard. We ain't done naught to yours. What do you want with us? Hello, I'm the Warrior of Light. I kill gods for a living. Anyone want to take note of me? No? Okay, fine. I think I made my position pretty clear. You take on the mantle of Sky Pirate, you agree to a certain code of conduct, and codes ain't worth much if folks go around breaking them. Frankly, lads, you're making us look bad, and we can't have that. No hard feelings, though, eh? Hi. Thanks for the cold-blooded murder. Oh, thank you, Mr. Leopard. Thank you. I'm certain my master will wish to repay you. If your employer does business in Ishgard, he likely knows a merchant or two what trades with my associates. Tell him to say it's for Leopard, and any reward should reach me soon enough. Well, as for you, adventurer, tain't often someone beats me to the scene, but then I'd expect not less from a hero such as yourself, Rick. That is who you are, ain't it? I don't know many two other folks with one of the marvelous mana cutters the Ironworks dreamed up. Well then, it seems you've saved me the trouble of tracking you down. I'd been hoping to have a word with you see. I'll put you to you straight. I need someone to help out with a little venture I have in mind. Someone used to taking a few risks. Now, this wouldn't be no black-hearted brigand's work, so don't go worrying yourself on that account. Unlike them thieving curs just now, I don't hold with robbing honest folk. For me, you see, the Sky Pirate's life is all about freedom. The freedom to go where you will, to find out what lies beyond the next cloud. If you're interested in joining us on an adventure worthy of the name, then look for my standard in the northern reaches of the Blue Window. Someone will be waiting there to greet you. So, like, airships in Final Fantasy have a history, right? Like, they're sort of one of the primary iconic features of Final Fantasy as a franchise, like, just as much as Chocobos, right? Like, even more than Chocobos, actually, because Chocobos didn't come around until, like, Final Fantasy 2 or 3 at the earliest, I think. But airships were there basically from day one. And they have had, like, a lot of different designs, sort of negotiated, like all Final Fantasy early aesthetics are, between the really elaborate visual style of Yoshitaka Amano, who was like the primary concept artist, and what an actual NES could actually output, which was a little tiny bitty simple cartoon sprite. Right? So there's been a lot of different aesthetics, a lot of different versions of what an airship is, what it can look like, how it's conceptualized, and the one here, I'm trying to figure, because, like, this is definitely based on, like, Yoshitaka Amano's, like, very swooping, organic style, and I'm trying to think, like, whether that looks more, yeah, like, there's definitely Final Fantasy VI in it, as Lucas said, like, but with the propeller blades on the back of it, I'm sort of getting Final Fantasy IV from it, actually, a little bit. That's a mana cutter. You have one as part of the 3.0 main story quest. Yeah, I know, but I also have a motorcycle that flies, and that's funnier. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm just sort of searching my mind for which era of Final Fantasy this one would be drawing from specifically. Just like stuff like the rigging with like the little ropes that sort of anchor the thing. It's that mix that Final Fantasy has always had of like the very high-tech sci-fi futuristic and the purely analog and practical, right? Like that this thing has this immaculately shaped organic metallic hull thing going on with all these sleek, impossible shapes that, like, no smith in the medieval times could ever possibly make this. And then also a wooden hull, right? Then also ropes sort of holding things up by suspension. Then also, like, wooden propeller blades just rotating, sort of pushing it forward slowly, like a zeppelin or something like that, which is... I mean, I'm always delighted to see it. Like, Yoshitaka Amano and his design sensibility is such an integral part of what Final Fantasy history is, even if in recent years it's been much more dominated by the design aesthetic of Tetsuya Nomura, who's sort of taken over that sort of principal role on the Final Fantasy franchise. And also others, like there's also, what the hell is their name? The person who did the principal character art for Final Fantasy Tactics, and I think was also one of the primary designers on 12. Damn it, can't remember. Like, there's some people like Ivalice as a sub-universe within the Final Fantasy franchise has also had like its own unique set of aesthetic ideas and priorities that have all sort of mixed together. Like, Final Fantasy XIV really is a celebration of all of it. Like, of all of these things all coming together. That is a really cute motorcycle. Oh, that's adorable. It has a little bit of that... Ah. It's like a tractor, basically. Yeah. Oh, it really, literally is. Oh my god, it's a plow. That's adorable. Anyway, oh, using the Final Fantasy Oh, that goes really well with that color scheme. Anyway. Hello. That's fair enough, stranger. If you value your life, tell me true. Did you stumble across this market by chance? Or are you here by invitation? No, let's fight. Then that would make you the hero the captain set to watch out for. Well met. The name's Stacia. Leopard will call me his right-hand woman, but I feel more like his bloody nursemaid, God's truth be told. Anyway, my thanks to you for coming to hear him out. If you follow me, I'll take you to the Red Bill's nest. I guess I had to use that one. Okay, fair enough. Ooh, Skybase. I mean, there's no universe in which that isn't fucking cool. Floating private pirate island. Yeah, that kind of rules, actually. Okay, I come to you in person and still you refuse my offer, arrogant fool. Don't know who's talking. On the subject of arrogance, Radley, I bow to your superior knowledge, but that's all the bow you'll get from me. As I've told you a dozen times before, I ain't no one's lackey. But, my dear Leopard, how else do you propose to survive an expedition into the ghost ship? I would fear for my life with naught but your feeble crewmates at my back. While I fear for my life with your mangy crew at my back on account of them being murderers, untrustworthy bastards to a man. We're doing the expressions. Good to see. I thought you cleverer than this, Red Bill. But no matter. I always get what I want in the end. Just merely a question of method. The eye patch is hot. Oh, now there's a face I've not seen before. You don't have the look of one of Leopard's little birds. He's a guest. You understand the concept, don't you? You know, when someone is invited, instead of just bursting through the doors whenever she damn well pleases. That was Radley, captain of the Talons. She knows Leopard's the best sky pirate alive, and the fact he won't join her sticks in her craw.
Are you gonna let him talk to you like that, Captain? We should teach them Red Bill some respect.
Patience. When all of this is over, we shall see who rules the skies. Good character designs, though. Like, I like that they're so colorful and decorated. And over the top. They need to be, right? Like, because they're fucking sky pirates. Lots of Hello. Whomst in the portrait there?
Who's in the picture? Yeah, hello, Mr. Man with your bowl cut. Who's the picture, though? That's an interesting picture. I want to look at that. Anyway. How there, hero. I promised you high adventure, and high adventures you shall have. For we plan to board the Sea of Cloud's very own ghost ship. Or what folks have taken to calling one, anyway. Every day for the past few weeks has brought it with it a new sighting of the self-same vessel. A massive airship of queer design adrift on the wind. Being a curious lot, there were a few buccaneers who tried exploring below decks, but not one of them's been seen since, and so naturally they're saying the ship is cursed. Well, haunted. Like I said, an honest-to-God ghost ship. My guess is she's another relic left behind by the Alligans, but we won't know for sure till we've had ourselves a good poke around inside, and liberated whatever ancient treasure she's got mouldering away in her hold, of course. But before we start divvying up the spoils, we've got to find the damn thing, which is why we've been working on a special new device. Pah, finding it will be the easy part. What we can't do without is a veteran explorer one ain't afraid to fling himself face first into the jaws of danger. Now, I know you're a gallant champion of the people and all, but strip away the fame and glory and I'll wager you're still an adventurer at heart. So what say you, Break? Fancy a plunge into the unknown at the side of the Red Bills? Yeah, sure. I don't need to think about that. You seem trustworthy. Yeah, I'll go first into the cursed ghost ship that kills people. Why not? Don't need to think about that. And it's settled. Let's pay a visit to our crewmate Utata. She's been working out on our way to track the vessel. Somewhere a phrase screams, yeah. God damn it, Break, not again! For God's sake! Stop saying yes to everything, you idiot! Okay, let's have a proper look at... Oh, my. Hello. Yeah, there's lots of decoration going on. A lot of the sort of NPCs in Final Fantasy XIV have a tendency to be fairly drab in their dress. Think of the goon that the lady pirate was leaving with, right? They tend to be sort of fairly drab in their dress and their manner. Even this is something I criticized in Horseshoe is that he just looks a little bit too drab to be as important of a character as he is, in my opinion, anyway. And here they seem to have gone for a little bit more of allowing these characters to be out there. Right? To have a little bit more nonsense going on. Which I appreciate. I like that. And some good unifying design features. The color scheme obviously identifies them as part of the same crew. And, the neckerchief that those two have got going on, which sort of replicates in the colors on her. It's just good craft, you know? It creates a sense of cohesiveness in them, but also individuality, right? They don't look like they're all wearing a uniform, but they share enough colors, they share enough design elements, that you can sort of link them together as part of one crew. Which is that's really nice. That's just good design, right? Working with what you got to do just decent design craft. Nice earring. I always get this thrill in my chest when I'm about to embark on a new adventure, and once you felt your heart dance like that, there's naught you wouldn't need to feel it again. This here's Utata, the lass I was telling you about. She's our engineer, and a damn good one at that. Hello, Mr. Man.
Might be as there are better engineers in the realm, but I wager none are as inventive as our Utata. She earns her keep with her brains, not her brawn, and we're a stronger crew for it.
Greetings. Name's Utata. I suppose you call me the Red Bill's chief of engineering. Smithing, carpentry, magic tech. If it's part of an airship, I can fix it. Just don't expect to see me waving a cutlass swinging over the rails. If there's fighting to be done, well, that's what we have you for.
La la la.
Well met, ladies and gentle pirates. Now that we appear to have our hero, I'm happy to report we've overcome the last obstacle to boarding the ghost ship. Meaning your project is proceeding as planned? That it is, Captain. I knew this would make the perfect place to take readings. The scant amounts of background ether make it easy to follow the derelict's trail. The ghost ship has what Utata tells us is a unique etheric signature. She's been building a device that can sniff out this particular spectral flavor and pointing us in the right direction. I call it the ectocompass. It's allowed me to collect some solid data on the vessel's movement and plot a reliable intercept course. No groping blindly through the clouds for us. All the ships are loaded and ready to fly. Just say the word, Captain. Utata, you'd best stay here out of harm's way. Keep an eye on them ether trails, eh? Hi, Captain. Grab an outload of treasure for me. Now, we've got no way of knowing what's waiting for us on that cursed hull, Brick, so you'd best bring along a few mates what you know you can trust. Don't hurt to be too careful, seeing how you'll be going in first and all. I did tell you you'd be going in first, didn't I? Well, you will. The rest of us will be guarding near the rear, just in case Ratley and her brood decide to stick their beaks where they ain't wanted. Don't worry, she'll not get past us. You can concentrate on carving a path into the ship's belly. An honest-to-God's ghost ship. Oh, this is gonna be an adventure and a half.
So, Tenwin, genuine question. If you aim to design and write a character or a nation that's dictatorial with a very evil, imperial, antagonistic vibe and want really to emphasize how serious or bad it can be, what are things you should keep in mind? Like anything from armor, outfits to events, things they do. I have ideas, but a tiny part of me is worrying that I'm going too far with some of them. I mean, the very depressing thing about knowing history is that you, like, however far you think you're going, you're not. Like, relative to things that such empires have done in reality, you're not. Don't worry about that so much as, like, worry about keeping it appropriate to your audience. Because like there's no depth of depravity that humanity hasn't sunk to. Like deeper than you can imagine, I am reasonably confident. But like if the basic thing, like what Final Fantasy XIV does, since that's what we're playing, like the Empire here, when you think of characters like Gaius or like the armor crew that sort of he had around him in Realm Reborn, right? It's like hide the faces, give them like masks and armor that looks like skulls and horns and like very sharp and aggressive. Red and black is like colors of blood and like darkness, which the Sky Pirates here, to be fair, also have got going on. But like it's like there's very basic things you can do to sort of instantly create a visual vibe of evil. You can also just design after like real life fascist dictatorships, which like have a tendency to share a bit of aesthetic, an obsession with nice looking uniforms, for example, like an obsession with looking imposing almost more than actually being effectively imposing, the appearance of strength rather than actual strength. Oh my god, Lara Croft cosplay? Okay, fucking iconic. That's excellent. Yeah, I'm okay. It's a recurring thing. Man, you're all so fucking I'm genuinely excited for you all to get 2 die channels and see what you do with them. Ooh. Oh, I see H.R. Giger has visited. The Void Ark. Shadow of Mhach. I will say, like, if someone boards this ship
and is like, yeah, sure, we can go adventuring here. We can check stuff out. It's like, I think you may be dumb. Like, you look at this and you kind of go, yeah, sure, why not? That seems safe. Listen, this is a techno-biomechanical nightmare. Can you not see? So, like, all of this stuff, like tubes and stuff running across these heavily detailed textured surfaces and stuff, that is HR Geek. Like, that is fully, like, the trademark of that man and his aesthetics. Ooh, hello. This very sparse and stark, technological, often very erotic. Like, H.R. Giger's art is often borderline pornographic. And very queer in a lot of its aspects as well. Although I don't know that he ever thought of it that way. Okay. Anything I need to know about this guy? Force me to play an ad. I will not play an ad right now in the middle of a fight, but just hit it? Okay. Woo! Oh, hang on. How dare you go a different place? Turn off the music so I can hear it better. Oi, you get back here. Ooh. Oh, bombing run. Ow. Oop. Trying not to get hit by that. So, giant manta ray beast, but with a very different mouth configuration. Interesting. You summoning again, or what are we doing? Oh, we're splitting the party is what we're doing. Okay. Guess I'll smack you with things to open up the barrier. I guess what we're doing. Okay. Doable. Probably shouldn't stand too close to those, should I? Okay. Nearly gotcha. Whee! Diddly-dee-doo-dee-dee-dee-dee. So, Void Ark. I mean, Ark is a familiar term. It's a summon in Final Fantasy IX, among other games. But we've already seen references to Ark. That was in the Alexander raid, right? So I'd be curious if this is like a reference to the same thing. The Pagan's Vibe. That sounds like a truly nasty cocktail at some like medieval-themed tavern. The Pagan's Knot. Oh, that sounds like a wholly different thing. Oh yeah, no, that's not body safe at all. I know someone's drawn fan art of it, though. Oh, we supposed to do something more particular, or are we just, like, fighting a horde here? Remember, this is a very straight game for very straight people. Obviously! Like, what could possibly be gay about dressing up your furry in all kinds of nice, sexy outfits? That is the straightest activity I've ever heard of in my life. Cis-hets only. Ooh. And that's the thing, like, the thing is, I will say, is, like, Ooh, oh, you look cool. Holy shit. Hang on. Wait, don't fight it yet. I want to... can I target it? I want to look at it. I want to... Oh, little... Oh, it's like a plant creature with like little things on its back. Oh, that rules. It's like a plant hydra. Oh, that is a cool monster design. Holy shit, that's excellent. I like that a lot. Like, carnivorous plant hydra. That's so obvious, but that's so good. Oh, that rules. What was I saying? Right, like, in terms of, like, it is remarkable to me the way that, like, homophobia has neutered masculine expression in the world, especially. Like, but just neutered expression in general in the world.
Lucky number. He will Fergus Knight.
There's so many good locations for G-posing, and SE is like, haha, you can't go there. Yeah. Happy Valpurgis. Oh, yeah, right, it's Halloween. Like, it has neutered expressions of masculinity so hard, like, to the point where men are scared of, if I wear a nice outfit, someone will think I am gay and therefore not a real man, right? Like, if I enjoy dressing up, if I enjoy fashion, if I enjoy, like, making something out of myself, or if I just enjoy, like, dressing up fictional characters in video games, if I play around with outfits and enjoy presenting in different ways, well, oops, my dick is gonna fall off because I can't be a man anymore. And that's all homophobia, right? Like, that's where all of that comes from, is just naked homophobia. And it goes back to, like, basically the Victorians. Like, it's very recent in the history of, like, masculinity as a thing that we had this thing of, like, masculinity must be protected from all expressions of femininity lest it be poisoned and corrupted, right? Like, that masculinity is this very fragile thing that has to be guarded so jealously from all, like, from all questioning, from all, like, strangeness, from all queerness, from all weirdness, like, lest it shatter and be destroyed, right? And so much of that came out of decency laws that were passed, like, in Victorian England, and, like, were passed over, of course, to the United States via the Puritans, which is this... Anyway, let's fight these things while I'm talking. Because, like, the Puritan approach to media, the Puritan approach to art, in general, is that there is no separation between, like, fiction and reality. Like, that they are two exact expressions of the same exact thing, right? That if you enjoy something in media, that has to be a reflection of your true soul, right? So if you read a piece of media where there is some porn in it, right? That means that your soul is corrupted by, like, pornographic needs and wants, and that you are, like, that is a reflection not just of, hey, you're horny for five minutes, like, while you're enjoying yourself. It's like your very soul is reflected in the thing that you are enjoying, right? And that comes through also, like, that's the same thing of, like, if you read stories about witchcraft, right? Like, if you play Dungeons & Dragons, remember, like, the Satanic Panic of the 80s. These kids are playing Dungeons & Dragons, and it's corrupting them to do witchcraft and, like, to like, reject the Lord in favor of consorting with dark powers and demons, right? That's Puritanism. That doesn't see a distinction between play, that doesn't see a distinction between pretense and acting, and reality. Like, that these are the same thing, that they cannot be separated, that a person cannot enjoy something without that something either, like, corrupting them, either having, like, a literal corrupting influence on their soul, or without that thing being a reflection of what they really want, right? Which is what you get, like, in online communities nowadays. You get that form of Puritanism where it's like, well, you enjoyed this problematic media, and that means, therefore, that you want the things that are depicted in the problematic... Okay, that's invulnerable. In the problematic media to be real, right? Like, you want these things to be... Oh, everyone's going somewhere else. I see. He was charging up a big... I get it. I get it. I get it now. And it's the same thing, like, with the video game panic of, like, the late 90s.
of like, these children are playing Grand Theft Auto and it's going to turn them all into criminals. It's like, no. Like, being constantly surrounded by a culture that valorizes and, like, glamorizes violence, especially violence against sex workers and women and shit like that, like, yeah, that has an effect on a person. It's not, like, it's not nothing. But, like, the things that cause a person to turn to crime or commit violence are, like, socioeconomic conditions. Like, if you want the things that actually predict for whether or not a person is going to do violence or treat people poorly, it's socioeconomics. It's their economic status. And it's like what kinds of influences they're surrounded by in real life. Not like they play a video game in which there is violence, but they are surrounded by people, like influences, caretakers, a social environment that valorizes violence, right? Like, it's not the existence of the violent video game, it's that there is a society around that video game that, like, rewards and valorizes and adores violence as holy, right? Which is what you get, like, a lot of in cultures that, like look into the Americans again, this thing of like one of the holiest things you can be in certain parts of United States society is a soldier, right? Like, it's one of the holiest things you can do is to become a soldier and serve your country by training to and being prepared to do violence on behalf of the state, right? Like, and that's something that ennobles you. It's something that teaches you how to be a man. It's a way that, like, it's how you learn values. It's how you grow up. It's how, like, it's, you know, like, that violence sanctifies you. Is that Diablos? And, like, that is likely to cause... That is Diablos. That is likely to cause people to commit more violence. That's likely to cause an increase of violence in society. But the video games that exist, like, that reflect that culture, like Call of Duty, for example, which very much reflects this valorization of soldier life, of being a soldier, of military service as, like, the highest calling a person can have and, like, the most real you can be as a man. It's gonna be a bunch of ads. Kill gargoyles that make annoying line attacks. I'm not the only one who finds Diablo's dummy hot, right? No, you're not. Like Call of Duty is like, that all comes from that culture, right? Like, they don't create this culture that reveals soldiery, this culture that reveres, like, war, that reveres violence. They don't create those things, but this is just ads between bosses. Ooh, oh, cool. Hang on. Someone told me to look up, and oh, yeah. Oh, sweet. Awesome. But, like, Call of Duty is popular because societies exist that are willing to consider it extremely cool to be a soldier, right? Like, that are willing to consider it extremely badass and empowering to do violence on behalf of a state, right? And video games reflect that reality, but they don't create it. And that's the fallacy that Puritanism engages in, is this thing of, like fiction creates reality rather than the other way around. Like, if you want to stop crime, if you want to stop sexism, if you want to stop violence, it's like you can't ban books in order to make crime go away, right? Like, you can't ban books or video games or movies to make those things go away. The only way to make those things go away is to address the material conditions that create them. Which is a very difficult thing. That's, like, a really complicated process that demands a lot of steps and a lot of reform and a lot of really active engagement with extremely complicated social problems. And so it's much, much, much easier to say, well, if we just got rid of the books or the video games or the movies that show this stuff and that, like, valorize it or depict it as cool, then that would make people stop, right? Like, that would make people stop wanting these things, liking these things. That would make people stop being influenced by their environment to enjoy these things. And that's just not how it works. Right? Like, the purpose is, like, that's why critique is important.
critique is like a tool that you use to understand the media that you enjoy, to be critical of it, to think about it, like to know why you like it and what kinds of values the media you enjoy reflects. Oh, hello! Cuchulainn. Oh, chunky boy with tentacles and everything. Okay, so we've got a mouth, and then we've got like a false mouth on top of it, like the face, like that thing creating like a false mouth. Oh, that's cool. And then like a third mouth. Oh, you are a cool monster design. And the tattoos up and down the body, that's a good touch. And like a tentacle that's also horns. Like, that's a really cool blending of like monster aesthetics and like tentacle suckers that sort of stand in visually for like an array of eyes. Oh, very nice. Why do I feel like film reviews are so pretentious with its medium when it's basically monopolized by very few studios for each medium? I mean, film reviews are not monopolized. Like, there's always conspiracies that go around, oh, film critics are paid off to do... Like, no, they're not. Movie studios don't need to do that in order to secure favorable reviews at all. Like, they have ways to manipulate review scores, absolutely, but not by literally paying someone to shill for them, because that's economically inefficient. But, like, a big part of the reason why professional movie reviewers come across as quite pretentious is because they are. But that's also, like, imagine you spend your professional life every day watching movies, seeing films, thinking about them, having to write about them commercially in order to make rent. It's like, at some point, you get bored with most movies. Because, like, most movies, like most media, is repetitious, right? Like, it contains many of the same themes and ideas. What's he about to do? Okay, I see. It contains many of the same themes and ideas and character tropes repeated over and over again. And so, like, a person who watches movies for a living is going to be a lot more bored with a Marvel movie than someone who goes to the movies, like, once or twice a year when something big comes out that they think is worth going to the multiplex to see, right? Movie critics are going to be much less impressed by the spectacle when the spectacle is normal. Which, like, I think is understandable. Like, they have a different frame of reference for what is a good movie and, like, what's interesting to them to see because they see movies in a different way. So it's not that they're trying to be pretentious, they're just writing from their experience. And that's, like, it's not really a movie critic's job to be objective or to, like, to be providing a service to the consumer as such. The critic's job is to offer you their perspective. And your job as a customer, as a consumer, is to find critics who you know, like, their tastes align with yours and be critical of the reviews that you read and understand where they're coming from. That's the thing that frustrates me, especially about game reviews, is like people get so obsessive about, like, review scores. Like, the review score has to be right. It has to be like, oh, like, if this is a 7.9, then this can't be an 8.4, because that's, you know, that's not correct. This game is not 90% better than that game. And it's like, no, like, the review score is meaningless. Like, it's an arbitrary number that's used to make, like, rule of thumb calculations. If you want to know whether or not you like a game, find a critic who likes the same kinds of games as you, or find several, in fact, and listen to them. Like, seek out their writing and their perspectives. And that'll give you a much better gauge of whether you'll like a video game, whether you'll enjoy it. Rather than expecting one IGN review to be, like, accurate for every single person on Earth. Oh, that was a killer. I see. Ooh, I think we're wiping. Oh yeah, the healers are down. Come on, other teams, you can do it. You can do it. We got one of the healers back. 2 healers back. You've got this. I believe in you. Hey. I love it when other people compensate for my incompetence. There we go. No more IBS tantrums from you, my friend. I don't know if I've commented on it much before, but... Oh, movie time. Okay. Oh, good okay, yeah, no, I was about to say, oh, that's a really cool, bizarre, strange monster design, and then she bent over. Then she bent over. Oh, well, this is classic.
Boss is doing the Jacko pose before Jacko became me.
I mean, they couldn't resist, could they? They could not resist. I will say, like, so when it comes to, like, horror monster designs, including, like, really... like, over-the-top, overt, very horny sexuality is, like, a very classic design trope when it comes to horror monsters. Like, monsters that are, like, inspired by body horror, that are meant to be sort of terrifying, because sexuality and sensuality are things which are, like, so in contrast and tension with horror, and with fear, and with disgust, that, like, combining the two things is, like, that's a classic move. It's something that's, like, that works really well. Silent Hill does it very famously, right, with the sexy nurses. Where part of the point there is to, like, to sort of introduce the horror of, like, sublimated libido in James Sunderland's mind and so on. So, like, it's a valid enough move. It's just, wow, it was like, that ain't subtle. But then, like, as someone points out in chat, the Xenomorph's head is a penis. If you look at the original concept art of it, it literally had, like, the little crown, like, the little cap thing that a penis has was originally designed into it, and then they smoothed it out so that the head wasn't quite so explicit because they couldn't get that past the censors. But no, that's how the Xenomorph's head was originally designed, to literally be a penis, because sexual violence is a major sub-theme of Alien. Using sexuality as a contrast to monstrousness to sort of heighten the horror of it. And that's definitely, like, a thing. But it's also, I will say, at this point I feel like I bet you have some kind of insta-kill attack. That kind of design trope is also very played out, in the sense that, like, we are so used to horror monsters. Like, this creature here, imagine if someone had designed that creature, like, in, like, the year 1800, right? Like, if like, someone had published... oh, hello. Had published, like, a novel where a creature like this is sewn together by a Frankenstein character, right? People would have been freaked absolutely to hell and back and scandalized, and it would have, like, disturbed sensibilities in a profound way. It doesn't really do that so much anymore. Like, this style of, like, sexy horror monster design is old enough and well understood enough that it has lost most of the shock value that comes from the combination of sexuality and grotesqueness. And that's where, like, I think a lot of people have the reaction of, like, this seems like just porn. Guess it didn't turn around fast enough. Right, like, people... Oh, they're splitting up. That's a nasty divorce. Ow. Oh, pull them apart. Okay. I just saw the A, and I was like, I should probably go to the A, I guess?
I have tried to stay away from like the trailers for anything Final Fantasy XIV related, because I don't want to. Like, I figure there might be story spoilers somewhere, like where some character makes a reference to a thing that's happened or whatever. So I've been trying to stay away from it. Whoa. Okay, she's gonna do it again, or no? Now she's gonna do the thing again. Okay, pull them apart. I remember. Hello, Echidna. Come to me, baby. There we go. There we go. Da, 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 da. I can't wait to get a better victory pose. I'll just cast Greed on all of them. Oh boy, yeah, I need to repair things. I want to get a look at the people before I hop out. Ooh, oh, nice job with the color correlation there. That's good. Oh, that bow. Oh, that's adorable. That's great. Goes really well with the blonde hair, like that blue color. And then, like, you got a little bit of blue in the... Ah, that's actually very good. A little bit of blue in the thing there. Okay, right. Bugger me, I expected danger, but not a hell-spawn bleeding nightmare made flesh like that. That didn't stop you and your mates, though, did it? That's some crew you've got there, no mistake. Don't know that there's much treasure in here. That giant coffin with the chains on it seems like a big don't open sign to me. I guess you found some treasure, though. Right then. Let's have a look inside that dirty great coffer type thing. Something tells me it's filled to the brim with booty. Something tells me it's sealing away some kind of great evil that's going to escape and wreak havoc. Have you never been on an adventure before? My guy, that thing says do not open in very bold letters. Don't look at me. I never moved a muscle. Hey, Diablos. What in the seven hells is that bastard doing? That's probably fine. This way, swiftly now. What in the... Kate? Can anyone else see that talking cat over there? Bloody hells, this adventure is getting queerer by the minute. Still, I'd rather take my chances with a prattling puss than stay here. Got your things, matey. We're leaving. But what about the loot? You can't spend it when you're dead. We either follow the furball or we make friends with a spell-slinging Voidborn. Your choice.
God, damn it. Damn it, how's an honest sky pirate meant to make a living? Less talking, more running? Personally, I would leave. Right, well, if it's Kate Sith... Ooh, nice. Oh, less nice.
This fully armed and operational space station.
The ship's breaking up. Or is he trying to bring her down? Now you can see that giant airship flying in the sea of clouds. Oh, cool. Oh, we're fully doing Death Star shit. Okay. Right, okay. See, now, because if that's Kate Sith... Now, Kate Sith is not necessarily a Final Fantasy VII reference. Kate Sith, as a creature, as a monster design, has been a part of Final Fantasy for a lot longer than that. Like, it was an enemy you could just encounter running around in Final Fantasy VI, for example. But if we're taking it as a bit of a Final Fantasy VII reference, then there's only really one accent I can give him. With apologies to the entire nation of Scotland. Let me see if I can get this right. The void centers are attempting to initiate a dimensional displacement, but the gates can't possibly be large enough for the entire ship. I don't do a good one, but it's because Kate Sith actually is supposed to have one. Oh, that looks like fingers. I don't like that. It's nice to see Diablos being used for more than just like a random dungeon boss. Like, he sort of comes back. Ah, the Queen's coffin. It takes it beyond our reach. Enter the soup.
Why are you doing a raid at the soup store? Fuck you!
Well, I don't see much point hanging around here. Let's get back to solid ground.
I can now say I've seen a demon open a portal to the Shadow Realm with a spaceship. I love Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Okay, then. Mr. Leopard. It was a bit touch and go in places, I grant you, but here we all are. And with all our bits still attached, this calls for a foaming flagon of... Hold on. Ain't we missing someone? Didn't I tell Utada to wait for us here? Never fear, we've been keeping the girl company. I would imagine it's the pirate lady. Yeah, there she is. Hello. But enough about her. Did you see the cannon on that ship? As you know, my dear Leopard, I'm not easily moved, but the sheer power on display set me all a-quiver. Well, I hope you're content to admire from afar. That vessel ain't for the likes of you and me. Do not presume to measure me by your own limitations. Besides, I believe I've shown how resourceful I can be. Which brings me neatly to the point. You have in your possession a device capable of tracking the ghost ship. Hand it over, or your engineer shall suffer the consequences. Shrug. Shrug emote. Perfect. A compass pointing the way to my just reward. Ooh, that's called foreshadowing, kids. A weapon like that belongs in the hands of one with the will to use it. Come, lads. Our business here is concluded. Okay, so now that we have her, why don't we just, like... Hey, dude, you were shooting, like, people murderously for, like... Just pull a gun and shoot them. Just, like, if we're... You can just pull a... Okay, fine. They're gone now. Okay. Like, you can just go back on the deal. Like, once she's released, you can just go back on the deal and fight them. Like, that's an option. Anyway, Ethan, we thank you very much for those 5 gift subs. That's very generous of you. I'm sorry, Captain. They caught me off guard. You get a bang on the head or something. The man I know would never give in to scum like her without a fight. Unless... what did you do to the compass? Oh, me? Oh, not. Despite slipping a link pearl into its casing. Like, so long as Radley keeps it close, and you can be damn sure she will, we'll know exactly where them thieving bastards are planning. Anyone care to wager how long it'll take to her to notice my little gift? Well, that's very clever and all, but how were you proposing to stop her from getting her hands on the derelict and its great big cannon? I ain't worked that part out yet, but I'll start with us keeping a close eye on the Talons. Before we get into any of that, though, I have some questions would need answering. I wish to know more of the Void Ark, the ghost ship I should call it. The Void Ark, so that's its proper name. I'd like to hear whatever you care to tell us, Puss. And I, for my part, are curious to hear your stories. Ere we continue, however, I must insist that you address me by my proper name, Kit Sith. I'll not respond to Puss or Cat, and most decidedly not Furball. Oh, hey, Jane. Say hello to the editor, everyone. Janie Yakis in chat. Again, that portrait seems like it means something. A tale begins long, long ago in the city of Mhach, which once stood in for the lands of Yefame. The sorcerers of Mhach were the masters of destructive magics, and they brought that terrible power to bear against Amtapor and Nim in the War of the Magi. The titanic forces they unleashed, however, took a heavy toll upon the land, ultimately resulting in a colossal flood that drowned the realms of Eorzea, a catastrophe which my master, Hyde Void Mage Cessair, was wise enough to foresee. Wait, colossal flood? Are you talking about the 6th Untold Calamity? I suppose you know it as such. Now, where was I? Yes. When they learned of the fate that awaited them, the Magi Magi began construction of a gargantuan vessel that would bear their people to the skies and to safety. The operation of the Void Ark, as the ship came to be called, was entrusted to Cessair. Prior to that, of course, my master had been a prisoner in her own home, confined for her outspoken opposition to the war. So, the Ark was made as a sanctuary? Then how did it come to be so... I mean, what happened to all the people? And where did the void scent come from? By what power do you imagine such a massive craft remains aloft? The energy required to raise the Ark was siphoned from over 1,000 otherworldly servants sealed within the vessel. Advances in Mhach sorcery were made for one reason and one reason only: cataclysmic destructive power. The swiftest and most dangerous method of acquiring that power was through the enslavement of voids and entities. So, the creatures on the derelict, they broke free from your master's control? At the very heart of the Ark, the Void Mages had entombed the great ruler of the Void Scent, Satath the Shadow Queen. Or Satach, probably. But in order to control support in the prisoner, a mage of adamant will was required, and being Mhach's preeminent sorceress, Cessair was deemed best qualified. Were it otherwise, my master might never have been released from her own imprisonment.
I do like the character design of this Kate Sith. Like, there's some very deliberate fuckery with proportions going on here. Like, really kind of strange and elongated. Really like, the giant eyes are the thing that catches the attention, but like, noodle limbs, that very long tail, the pear-shaped body. Like, it's really kind of fucking with the uncanny. In a way that I find really fun. Like, very, very strange. Very strange indeed. But I like it. Like, that's... Like, because Kate Sith, as you remember him from Final Fantasy VII, and indeed as Kate Sith enemies have appeared at other points in Final Fantasy games, have mostly been very traditional cat creatures, right? Have mostly been round and fluffy and kind of cutesy, whereas this thing is alien in its design. Like, it looks fucking weird. Yet even as Cessair's peerless skills, the Shadow Queen could not long be subjugated. One after another, the lesser voids awoke and ran rampant within the sheep. In the end, Cessair and the 53 Void Mages aboard the Ark sacrificed their own life energies to return the fiends to their coffins, leaving me, a lowly familiar, to watch over a derelict prison. If I remember Umbral eras right, the stuff you just described happened more than 1,500 years past, which is a good while by anyone's measure. Since everything seems to have been quiet on board your boat till just recently, I'm thinking something unusual must have happened to wake the inmates up. Am I warned? One day, a void scent that had taken the shape of a bat flew into the ship. At first, it was little more than a nuisance that I brushed away, but the longer it remained on the Ark, the stronger it seemed to become. Eventually, I could not contend with its power, and it began shattering seal after seal. That would be Diablos. I guess this is where he went after we beat his ass in one of the dungeons. I can't remember which one. You have faced this bat-winged fiend before. Yet it seemed then that this creature survived that encounter, and that he intends to celebrate his restoration by liberating his queen. In Amdapor Keep. Ah! So there's a connection. Well, that explains that then, except for one small detail, namely where the Queen's coffin went. After it fell out of the ship's belly, I'm assuming it didn't just disappear, right? You recall the great rift that the Ark's cannon ripped in the sky? That was a void gate. Such a portal remains a temporary path through the void, allowing the sheep to travel almost instantaneously from one location to another. The void scent, as you saw, only opened the gate large enough to displace the coffin. As for the coffin's destination, however, that is as much a mystery to me as it is to you. I beseech you, conquerors of the Ark, help me find the Queen's coffin ere the wards binding Skatash are dispelled. No, I'm willing to bet that we'll find it just as the wards are dispelled. Like, we'll find it right as they're, like, as they're broken up and then we have to fight her. I'm willing to bet. Oh, smells to me like an adventure. And who knows what ancient Mhachi treasures we might stumble upon along the way. God knows there'll be a nice change from all them elegant tomestones we're collecting. I'll take some of those off your hands. I will help you. I'm not risking my hide for the sake of the realm, you understand, but I'll be damned if I let either Ratley or that bat-winged bastard take the freedom of the skies from me. You care only for how you might be inconvenienced. If the Shadow Queen were to return, it would have dire consequences for its entire star. Count your blessings, Furball. I said we'd help, didn't I?
Before we go rushing off in search of that coffin, though, there's preparations to be made. You might as well get back to your usual heroical employment, Brick. I'll let you know when it's time to round up your mates again. I forgot how hype that musical Sting motif is. Yeah, it's pretty good. Of course she has a pipe. Of course she does. Another note about character design, right? This is something you'll see, well, it's all over, really. But in particular, in like Japanese video games, like anime, manga-inspired things, the goons being faceless is such a trope, right? Like they have masks on, they have helmets, they have something that like blocks out their eyes, something that anonymizes them, right? Whereas all the characters that matter, all the ones that are like have personalities or character arcs or some kind of relevance to the plot, they get to have their faces shown in some way or another, or they get to have like, rather than the uniforms, like the repetitive uniforms of the underlings, they get to have like a special look. So she is blonde and in red, and with many bright colors, whereas all her goons are in these drab olive green uniforms with masks and goggles on to sort of anonymize them. Hang on, someone's talking about pronunciation. But it's Ketshi and Skahak for those names. Well, I mean, I don't really know how to pronounce Celtic, but Ketshi. I think it is still Kate Sith officially. In like Final Fantasy context, like, because I don't think that Final Fantasy ever really bother with proper pronunciations of most things. Oh, the time is nigh, my dear Talons. Soon we shall seize control of the ghost ship and all its power, and rule the skies from here to the end of the world. Like, you can see the contrast being established, right? Like, the very strong aesthetic disconnect between all the finery and the colors that she's wearing and the stuff that her goons are decked out in. She reminds me of LeBlanc from Final Fantasy II X2. Yeah, there's a little bit of that lineage in there. Like, it's an archetype. Like, she's an anime archetype. Like, the sort of scheming villainess. That's... Okay, what am I looking at here? Oh. Inside of a puffball. Okay, so that ends that quest. That's the next quest we can take on to go. Tisaya de Vries. I swear to God I saw your name just a second ago. There you are. Aha. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so you described that as... Well, no description, really. So let's just look at it for what it is. So those are definitely Ruby Kante-themed weapons. Do you get to fight Ruby? Don't answer that, obviously, but... I would have to imagine how Ruby Kante shows up as like a raid boss at some point. Cool. Right. Oh, okay, so that's... Oh, so it's like a... Oh, that's interesting. So it's like a combination of like a coat and like a knitted cable knit sweater thing. That looks so fucking cozy. Holy shit. Which is like, I think that it described that as the general vibe of this character design. Is like, it's a very cozy character design. It looks like a character who likes to be comfortable. Right, who likes to be warm, who likes to be snuggled up in something soft and nice, that's like of relative, fairly high quality. It's very cottagecore in a sense, except for the colors. The colors are not at all sort of cottagecore cozy vibes. They are much more magic stuff. Like, and I can see that you're color coordinating with the weapons, which I think is really, really good. But the colors definitely give more of a vibe of like magic, more of a vibe of energy, more of a vibe of mystery. Just in the way that they're put together. In part because, like, this purple, bluish purple thing, like, any purple color is always going to be mystical, magical, supernatural. Like, that's the general association you get with anything that's not quite blue, but blue with a tinge of red, which you've got going on here. So it gives the sense of a mage, which is also, I believe, the class that you're playing, so that makes perfect sense. And it's an interesting thing, like, because the weapons and the color scheme says this is someone who, like who isn't, like, just cozy, like, because cozy core and cottage core and all that stuff, that tends to be earth tones, that tends to be, like, creamy off-white, that tends to be, like, dusty colors of various kinds, that tends to be pastels, whereas, like, these colors, like, these sort of saturated reds and blues and stuff like that, that is much more stuff that has, like, energy to it, right? Like, that's kind of part of the point of, like, pastels and, like, is that they tend to be desaturated, they tend to be sort of low intensity. These colors are more intense, and thus give a greater intensity to the character, which, like, works also with, like, the stark black and white contrast in the hair. It makes the character look intense, right? Like, that there's an intensity to them, even if they like to be comfy. The joke is that I'm the preschool teacher for my group. That's actually, yeah, I can absolutely see that. Like, a preschool teacher who's very soft with the kids, but also doesn't take any shit, necessarily. Like a softie at heart, but kind of tough love on the outside. This would definitely work for a character like that. Like, again, with the very sort of visibly soft, thick, like, heavy fabric material sort of giving an air of like, steadiness to the character. Yeah, absolutely, I can see that. It's a nice glam. Like, I like the color coordination with the weapons. That's very good. Let's see. Who else in-game? Castimir. Thank you. Yeah, I correctly managed to perceive a thing. That is worth celebrating. Oh, I think I've seen you before. I remember that face. Okay. No notes on what the character design is. So there's a simplicity going on here, like, especially relative to the kind of complexity you can achieve in Final Fantasy, like, in terms of detail heaviness. This is all very simple, right? Like, you have, like, this simple, looks like just, like, linen or cotton, maybe, and this coat over top of it. So it gives a vibe of, like, a fairly no-nonsense character, like someone who's not particularly interested in fanciness or being part. It also has an element of class, right? Like, that this is more working class than something like extremely fancy might be. Like, this is a little bit more upper crusty, right? But then again, the colors, right? Because blue, like, sort of stereotypically, blue is an expensive dye. It's an expensive color to put on anything. That's why we have the concept of royal blue, right? Like, so that's why the Virgin Mary is associated with, like, this ultramarine, very sky blue color, because it was a very expensive color back in ye olden times. But here, like, with the sort of dusty texture the thing got going on, it's sort of more associated with something a little bit more down to earth. I like the knuckles. Like, I like sort of the spike knuckles on the gloves. Like, without having, like, a sleeve that connects to them, or without that being reflecting anything else, that makes it seem like this is a tool I'm wearing on my hand specifically for the purposes of doing violence kind of thing. So it doesn't change the reading of the rest of the outfit. This looks like something, like, a simple person has put on these things in order to do damage and harm. That's sort of, like, that vibe's pretty, like, the color coordination between the shaft of the axe and the coat is really good. And it is interesting because, like, this is a very sort of over-the-top elaborate weapon because that's the norm in Final Fantasy. But it does have a little bit of vibe of, like, because it's like a brass chunk of metal, essentially, it does carry a certain sense of simplicity, like a certain sense of... Like, it would be different if, for example, it had, like, a million golden auras or whatever, like, if it glowed and lit up the way that many weapons do. Because it is just, like, textured with this plain brass, it really does work with the rest of the... Like, this is very cohesive, right? You have this character, like, they don't dress fancy, they don't do much in terms of, like, of their appearance or whatever, but they have some tools that are real good at hurting folks, if need be. And the only really sort of elaborate over-the-top thing about them is they have this weapon that's like, oh shit, right? So, like, some bandit tries to intimidate this guy because they think he's
just some random nobody, some wanderer, then he unfurls that thing, and it's like, oh no, we fucked up. Nice color coordination with the bluebird as well. That's a very good companion for this specific character, I think. Especially because birds have a tendency, like especially little songbirds like that, have a tendency to be associated with gentility, with innocence, with kindness in various ways. Which, like, yeah, like in terms of like a wandering warrior who's not interested in violence, but who can absolutely do it. If that's the character you're going for, then that absolutely works. Let's see. Yasunte again. I remember that name. And I, spotted you immediately, hidden behind a dragon. Let's see. No notes on what it is. Oh, okay. So this is like a modern thing. Yeah, this is a very modern outfit. Sort of a motorcycle outfit, almost. Like, it looks like... Oh, nice weapons. Yeah, it looks very Final Fantasy VII, actually, in parts. Very streetwear. The gas mask is good. Well, I guess it's maybe not a gas mask, is it? Does it have valves on it? Something like that. The mask is good. Because, like, on its own, like, this outfit is, like, not especially spectacular, right? Like, it's some techwear pants and, like, a cool upper body jacket. It's not something that stands out as, like, main character energy shit. But then the mask, right? Like, then the mask comes on and it's like, oh, no, like, something's going on here, right? Like, there's something more here than just a person in some cool cyberpunk techwear stuff, whatever. And the weapons also help with that. Like, that the fact that the rest of the outfit is, like, relatively dull in color, right? Like, it's grays, it's whites, they got some blacks going on there, but nothing that really sort of pops and sparks. First of all, nice for the contrast with the hair. It makes the hair stand out as like a point of interest on the character, and it also makes the weapons really pop relative to the outfit. So I think that's a good decision. You can experiment maybe with, I don't know what you can do with the colors of the weapons in terms of their glow. So that depending on the vibe you want the character to have, like red and orange tend to be like aggressive, tend to be angry colors. If you want this character to be more sort of precise and cold-hearted, blues, purples are often good for that. If you want them to be unexpectedly gentle, like a green glowing weapon might be a way to sort of indicate that they have like a softer side hidden underneath. Or like just like little hints of that in their character design, sort of depending on what you want to do. But like with the red, it makes it look like this is a character who like has this very cool, slick style, but is like some burning anger underneath that they're ready to unleash at any moment, right? That's sort of the vibe I get from this, especially given that the weapons are like hidden away until they activate for combat, and then you get this fiery red glow. That feels very much like sort of a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Hulk, right? Someone who bursts out into a powerful, violent rage when they need to. Just in terms of how the character design reads, at least. Let's see. That was Yusuntai. Ariadne, Dark Magic Girl. Hey! Where have you been? Been searching all along. I'm a phantom thief. Oh, hello. That's different. I thought I was looking at the schoolgirl outfit. I was about to comment that it had like a Persona vibe to it, but I guess we're doing okay. So this definitely gives like Battle Princess, right? Like this gives like the protagonist of like a little bit Valkyrie profile, actually. Magical girl transformation, yeah, I get it, but like this gives a little bit Valkyrie profile, like that peculiar mix in like games like Valkyrie Profile, Odin Sphere. Like there's a lot of games that do that thing of like mixing sort of fairly practical looking battle gear, like the gauntlet thing and like with stuff that's more high fashion, more sort of high femme girly, more princessy. I will say that like the exposed thighs on this gives it a little bit of an edge, right? Like that that's a little bit of a sexualization.
that like adds a little bit of tension to the thing of like, this doesn't look like an innocent character, right? Like this doesn't look like a pure-hearted princess, Sailor Moon kind of. Well, Sailor Moon is a bad example because she's got thighs for days. But it doesn't look like a sort of pure-hearted innocent character. This looks like someone who has like a spark of passion and violence in them, right? Like that would be the vibe I would get from like this high cutoff with the skirt. But then you have like the frills and the pleats running down the skirt that sort of indicate, okay, this is a fashion piece, this is a statement piece, this is something that's meant to be pretty, that's meant to look pretty, in combination with like the frills along the thing there. So it sort of informs that you have this mix of characteristics. Oh, the black bow on the tail, that's really nice. And I do like it like in a contrast with the schoolgirl outfit. I think that's quite clever as a concept. Because like I see you preserve a bunch of the colors from the schoolgirl outfit, well, like with the blacks and stuff, which is quite good. That creates a good cohesion between them. I think you could go for contrast also. If I recall correctly, the accents on the schoolgirl outfit were like red mostly. And you've got, is the weapon blue? Oh, there you go. Oh, the red. I was thinking of the emblem. Yeah, because like the only other splash of color you have on the schoolgirl outfit. Very nice to switch with like the snapping thing. You have these bright reds and like a little bit of gold in the schoolgirl outfit. If you could bring that over into the magical girl version, like maybe bring the red into the weapon or something, like that would create more cohesiveness between the two, because like you're preserving the color scheme, right? With like the blacks and like the fairly dark color scheme. If you could bring the red over, for example, into the weapon or something like that, that would create more cohesiveness. But if you want to go for contrast, you might incorporate, like, again, depending on what you can do with dyes, maybe the headgear or something that's bright or colorful to indicate like a real strong it depends how you want to play the character, right? Is the schoolgirl transformation like a heightening of who this character is already, right? Is the magical girl transformation is like, I am becoming even more myself, right? I am the same person I am when I'm untransformed. I'm just even more. I'm more powerful. Or is the civilian persona like a one where I'm hiding my identity, I'm hiding my true self, I'm not letting anyone know who I really am? And then once they transform, that's when they unleash their true self. Because if it's the latter, if it's the thing of like, my real form is hiding who I am, and then I unleash myself, I would go for more contrast. I would want to go for more colorfulness, like something that is distinctly visually different from the base form. But if you're going for the first thing where it's like, I am who I am, and then when I do this, I become myself completely, then that's perfect, because you have created that through line in terms of the color aesthetic of the thing. I might think about the boots, because they seem a little bit modern in their aesthetic to me relative to the rest of the outfit. So, like, if you wanted to do something like some high-heeled boots, like some thigh-highs, again, depending on the character, boots, as we've talked about in terms of how a character is, they tell you a lot about a character's practicality. Someone who is wearing high heels, that's a statement of, like, I care more about looking good than being, like, balanced on my feet. But someone who wears practical boots, that's a state that creates like a vibe of this character cares a lot about having comfortable feet, being steady on their feet all the time. Like, think about Bayonetta, right? Like, Bayonetta wears high heels as part of her super high femme, like super confident, super girl power, like sort of super feminine power presentation and aesthetic. That's why she has the high heels. That's why the heels are guns, because they are like, they signify her power through that hyper femininity. Whereas a character who wears boots, especially alongside an otherwise very femme outfit, like the boots sort of indicate that, like, yeah, I look pretty, this is the nice thing, but I am practical minded. I care about being steady on my feet, right? Like, I care about having comfortable feet. I don't care about like lifting up my ass and like making my posture perfect, which is the function of heels. So, like, again, depending on the vibe you want to communicate with the character, you could go for something that's like, if it's a thing about like, I am unleashing my true self, and this is when I'm a hyper femme boss bitch killing everyone in my way, no one can stand against me, like maybe adding some feminine power by going with heels, like high heels for her on that might be a way to go to sort of emphasize that aspect. But again, I don't know the details about who the character is, so I'm just sort of riffing on what I see. It's a really cool, like, I like
I like it a lot. Like the magical girl transformation thing you've got going on looked really fucking cool. That is really cool. It's amazing you can do this shit in Final Fantasy. Dark magical girl. That kind of rules. Okay, let's see. Luke was hang on. Luke was Esquet. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Oh, okay, interesting. So are those... Okay, so those are normal glasses. Okay. Alright, I see. Let's have a look at this. Ooh. So what's the class, actually? I don't know. Ah, it's an Arcanist, Astrologian thing. It's that thing, magic. Okay, I get it. Good. Good to know. Again, I love the color coordination between the outfit and the weapon. Like, that's so cool. Like, when people get the weapon to really match what the rest of the outfit is doing. Even the hair, actually. Like, the purple from the butterflies kind of matches the hue of the hair a little bit. It's quite good. Okay. So the thing I noticed first about this character is, like, the flowers in the ears and the glasses. Because... like, glasses, especially those glasses, right? Like, glasses have existed for many, many hundreds of years. They're a very old invention. Well, many hundreds of years. They existed for hundreds of years. They're an old invention. But those glasses specifically, like with the rimless thing, those look very modern, right? Those look very contemporary. Those look very much like something like a modern person would wear on their head. And that creates a contrast immediately with the outfit, because the outfit is very fantasy, right? Like, the outfit is very, I am a knight squire, sort of on a quest to do a thing or whatever. And so the glasses create a contrast with that, and because the glasses are so modern, I look at the hairstyle with the braids and, like, the little thing and the thing, and I look at the flowers thing also as, like, a modern thing. See, I get the vibe of, this is a modern character, this is someone who's from, like, maybe an isekai character, right? Like, would be the vibe I'd get from this, who's been transplanted into a fantasy environment and is sort of applying that over the top of their modern sensibilities, which also kind of works with, like, the tattoos and stuff. And the outfit itself is just, like, nicely coordinated. I really like that. Yeah, the colors. Ooh. Oh, actually, that's really cool. You've I don't know if it's intentional, but you've color coordinated the tattoos with the little flowers. They're like, not in terms of, like, being the same color, but, like, the brightness of that, again, with the brightness of the highlights and the... That's very good. That feels cohesive. But yeah, like, that's the vibe I get from this character. It's like an isekai character. There's an intentional tension between the modern aspects of the character and the very sort of fantasy medieval aspects, which, like, might be interesting to play with in terms of the weapon. I don't know how many weapons you can get as an Astrologian. If you wanted to, you could go with, like, a sci-fi weapon for this character to sort of emphasize this is someone who comes from a modern place. If you wanted to, like, lean into that. I don't know if that's possible to color coordinate quite as well as you've done with this weapon here. You might also, in terms of the outfit, if you wanted to build more around the weapon, finding something with butterfly wings, finding something with iridescence, finding something that has a little bit of that wing thing, maybe some headgear. Oh, no, wait. Can you do that next to glasses? They're introducing the thing where you can wear glasses and a helmet, right? Once that happens, you might be able to find some headgear that coordinates a little bit with the weapon as well. But yeah, I will say, like, there's a sense of simplicity to this outfit. Like, not in the sense that it's not, like, elaborate, because it is. But there is a sense of simplicity that this is not, like... This is not high-powered endgame gear. This is, like, mid-game gear. Right? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. Which, again, in terms of where a character is along their journey, whether they have reached their final form where they have all of their most powerful shit, or whether they are sort of on the journey. And this feels more like an on-the-journey kind of character. Someone who's like going through the things, and who's eventually gonna glow up into, like, their final form, but it doesn't quite feel like the final form yet, which is not a bad thing at all. Let's see, male. Male Dotharl. There you are, Dothari. Dotharl, Dothel.
Well, that is a red mage outfit. Let's see. Sage Glam. I mean, I love the color coordination with the hair. No tail on you, huh? Or, wait, yes, there it is. It's in there. It's hiding. Okay, so like red, black, that's traditionally very aggressive, right? Like red and black are traditionally evil colors. Like that's like if you think about like Sith, for example, that's all red and black. Like it's associated with anger, blood, passion, darkness, shadow, that sort of thing. And then there's that little pink, right? That little pink skirt down there, which is like softness. It's very feminine. It's very sort of gentle, like that. Those are the things we associate with the pink color. It's like this very gentle, like it's the color you get for female babies, that sort of thing. And that's interesting to me because the weapons also have that femme aesthetic to them. Like they're butterfly wings, they're elaborate, they have like these decorative patterns on them. So I'm seeing, when I'm looking at this tension between this very aggressive, this very sort of like, "Argh!" Like I'm gonna beat you to death and like drink your blood and smash things. Same thing with the red eyes, right? And then the flowers in the hair and that little bit of a pink skirt and the slightly dainty but lethal looking butterfly wing blades, which is an interesting tension to play with, I think. Again, thinking about boots. We've got boots with heels on this time, but they don't look like they don't look like stilettos, right? Like they don't look like sort of sexual boots. I was about to say they don't look like Bayonetta boots is the thing I'm trying to get at. They still look fairly practical. So again, and for me that reinforces the sense of like this is a character who's like powerful, angry, passionate. That sort of gives me that. Whereas, like this is the thing about vibe, right? If they were wearing fancy feminine shoes of some kind, like some pink shoes with like flowers on them and like high heels or whatever, that would sort of emphasize the femininity more. That would sort of shift the balance of like feminine to angry and powerful, red and blood and shadow and shit. So you could play with that if you wanted to like play with the ratio of how much is soft-coded, femme-coded, and how much of it is like more like blood and murder coded. And footwear can be a very powerful way to do that. Like, because footwear, again, is a statement piece about how the character relates to the world. So that's quite good. There's slight sexualization going on here, which I like as well. That's very often used as a way to express power in a character. So that supports, like, the passion, the anger, the power, the blood thing. It's very nicely coordinated. Like, the colors flow together perfectly. Like, the colors especially, I wasn't really commenting on them because they're just so good, but it's just like, yeah, no, that feels so natural and cohesive. That, like, you could play with contrast if you wanted to. Like, if, like, the flower, for example, if that was pure white, for example, to contrast with the black, that would create, like, an eye-catching thing that would make people really take notice of the flower, and like, the flower would become sort of a tonal piece for the thing. If it was blue, people would look at the contrast and go, oh, hey, hang on, there's some kind of dissonance going on there that's interesting. Again, depending on what you want to communicate about the character, right? Like, adding a piece of extremely obvious contrast can be a great way to sort of create interest in an outfit, but it would also, like, make it less cohesive, which is what you've achieved here, is, like, something that feels very, very natural, like it all fits together. Like, it all goes together really nicely. Would be my reaction to that. Then we have Ruby Braun. Ruby. Oh. I mean. It's well named, I'll say. Because that looks like a punch fighter. Like, that looks like someone who caves people's faces in with their hands for a living. And indeed, it is a monk glam, I see. Excellent. Okay. So, one of the things I notice immediately is, like, the leopard skin pattern, right? So, like, leopard skin patterns, sort of depending on context, sometimes they're used to be, like, sort of hyper-femme fashion thing, like a big leopard skin coat on, like, a femme fatale character, for example, that sort of thing. But the way that they're employed here, they sort of fall more into the visual trope of the savage, air quotes, which is a problematic thing to call it, but that's how it's employed, right? Like, that this is someone who, like, deals with wild animals, who's associated with wild animals, with nature, with the vitality and power. It's the same thing like if a character is wearing a lion skin, right? Like that sort of gives them that association with raw nature, with wildness, with power. Maybe they're a hunter, maybe they're someone who lives on the savannah or the steppes or whatever, with all of the attendant tropes that come with that particular thing. And so that sort of sets the expectation that, okay, this is a character who has some sort of like a primal nature. I'm doing big air quotes that you can't see right now. That's sort of what that associates with, like the power of animals, like the raw emotional sort of engagement of being in touch with nature, being in touch with your animal side. And that all supports like the idea of someone who's like a wild brawler, right? That all works with that. And it's like, yeah, like immediately when I saw that felt like a character who needs to punch people, and that is perfectly built for that. Like that is just about as perfect a build for that as you can get. I would say you could probably add, if you could find some boots with fur lining on the top or some kind of fur detailing, that might support a little bit more into like not necessarily leopard print pattern or whatever, but something with a fur detailing might support that a little bit more, because the pants themselves look like fabric. Like they look more civilized. Big air quotes once again, civilized. They look more normal, right? So you might be able to sort of support that if you could find some torn pants, some trousers like that have torn holes in them, especially if it looks like it was torn with claws or something. That would really emphasize like wildness, power, like rawness, danger. Would go there. Any kind of battle damage actually you can get. Like the scar is really good for that already. The scar sort of indicates this is a character who has seen violence in their life. So that works really well. I like the headband as well. Like there's a certain sort of martial artist primalness to that, and also the hairstyle. Like the hairstyle is really good for that. Like pulled back, big practical ponytail up in the back, because it's sort of like I need my hair out of my way so I can kick your ass, right? Like so it doesn't distract me while I'm punching your face in. But then that one hair bang that's out of place because they're not tightly controlled. This is not someone who's like tightly controlled or very sleek. This is not a librarian, right? Like this is not someone who puts their hair up in a bun and who's like got a big lid on everything. This is someone who like puts this out of the way because it's practical, but then they also have that little streak of wildness to them. But no, yeah, like if you wanted a monk glam for someone who just punches people for a living, this is pretty damn perfect. You might, depending on what you want to do, if you find some weapons with red glow, for example, or red or orange, or like something that uses the colors you have already, like there's the yellow coordination with like the leopard print pattern a little bit. Like something that does that. That coordinates more explicitly with the colors in the outfit. That might enhance it, maybe. That's an option if you wanted to go for that. But like, no, this is a very, very clear character design. Like, this is you can tell what this is immediately once you see it, and it feels cohesive. It feels right for what it is. I also like, this is something I should comment on. So we have the naked midriff, right? Then we have like the leopard skin thing, which adds a certain bulk to the hips, like sort of bulks them out, gives a little bit more of that hourglass. And then we do the same thing with the jacket, right? Like we have nothing, and then the jacket bulks out to the upper body. It emphasizes the hourglass shape, but it also makes the upper body look bigger. It makes the shoulders look broader. It makes the arms look larger. It gives more a sense of upper body strength, just because it like defines the proportions in that way. So that also supports, even if Final Fantasy games don't actually let female characters be muscular very much. Like that's a way to sort of cheat that a little bit by leaning into that hourglass shape, by like bulking out the top while leaving the middle a little bit more slender. That's a way to do that. And that's another thing that works really well about this, is that you get that bulk on the top of the body to sort of give the impression of power and strength. Even if Final Fantasy XIV itself is a little bit too cowardly to actually let women be shredded in that way. So that's really good. Ruby Brawn is also a great name for that. Let's see. Thena, have you arrived since then, or should I refund the... Aha! There you are! Damn it, wrong key again. Oh, okay. So I recognize the coat, obviously. Okay, so that's good. That's cool. So blue and red is interesting, like especially for a mage. like blue and red are contrast, right? Like they're colors that clash with each other. They're dissonant with one another. They're not strict opposites. The opposite of red is actually green, but there's colors that people perceive as opposites, right? Because blue tends to be cold, blue tends to be water, and red tends to be fire, red tends to be warm. So they clash with each other, and that creates a sense of contrast, right? Like that creates tension in a character design. So what's interesting to me is that blue dominates this character design entirely, almost, like all the way up to like the little beret on your head. Blue is like the main color in the gloves, the main color in the boots, everything. But then you have like that redder, warmer color in the eyes, and then this, which sort of, depending on how you read it, can give this thing of like, oh, this is a character who has a very cold, controlled outward appearance, but there's some passion burning on the inside, right? Like they keep a cool front, but then when they do get pissed off, they get pissed off real bad, right? So like that's one way to read the character design. The other thing I noticed is like the coat itself is very flamboyant, right? Like that's the reason why I'm wearing it. It's very flamboyant, it's very sky pirate, it's very rogue, it's very dashing, it's very, like, it's slightly sexualized. But then the little beret and the glasses, they are a little bit, like the beret especially because it's too small for the head, is sort of a little dainty showpiece thing. That has a little bit more of like this, oh no, this is pretty, right? This is refined. This is poised, right? Where this is all very passionate and very like sort of like flamboyant and show-offy. This feels more, what the fuck is the word I'm looking for? Refined, I guess? Like something that would be part of like a high fashion outfit rather than a rogue's fashion outfit, right? So there's a class element to that there, especially with the glasses as well. Because of they're big and they're round and they're kind of dainty and quite femme in that way. In a way that's different from the rest of the coat. It's an interesting design. Like, it's a design that has a lot of tension and a lot of attention-grabbing things to it. I think you could mess with the balance of blue and red a little bit more. Like, I don't know. Yeah, because I think the blue dominates a little bit too much. I think maybe it's because it's a very saturated blue. That it does do a little bit of dissonance. Like, this is just me thinking in terms of, like, what I would do with it. Maybe not have gloves on. Maybe have bare hands. To sort of, like, let the skin color get a little bit more play to balance it out. Yeah, like, maybe something like that. I think there's something you can do to play with the balance of red and blue here. Like, I don't know if you could get red accessories of some kind, like a red necklace, to sort of add to that, little things that bring more red into the character design. I don't know. Red streaks in the hair might be an option for that. Just in terms of balancing the two things out, because right now the blue dominates and the red is sublimated, and that's... There's nothing wrong with it, I'm just thinking. Oh, I really like that, actually. Like, again, do what you like. This is your character, you should do what you like, but I really like the naked hand with, like, the wrist thing and the ring that's visible on it, and, like, that the scales of the dragon form. I think that balances it out a little bit better. Yeah, at least in my opinion, this looks better. But you should do what you want. You could also go with, like, bright white gloves, or... Yeah, do something, like, really outrageous and eye-catching to the gloves. Like, the gloves could maybe color coordinate with the staff, and, like, that same ivory white. Also an option. But I really like it with the naked hands. Like, I think that balances it out a little bit more. Because that's the other thing is, like... What I was talking about in terms of, like, something that looks high fashion and something that looks sort of, like, more roguish, more wild, a little bit more working class, perhaps, which is, like, the coat itself is, like, more of, like, a pirate thing, and this is more of, like, a high society thing. I think the ring and the bracelet and the thing, like, I think that works in terms of having naked hands is more working class, wearing fancy gloves is more high class. Sort of broadly speaking, like really fancily sewn, like gorgeous looking gloves. That is more of like a rich person thing. So yeah. No, I mean, it's really good. Thank you very much, Lancer Shy, for that 12 months. Good lord, a whole year? You have given me way too much money. I feel kind of bad about that. Let's see. Ninja Glam, Navera Luthani, going for an aristocrat. Aha! Hiding in the bushes. Very ninja. So, going for an aristocrat assassin sort of vibe. Couldn't dye the underside of the hat, but the red's been growing on me. All the armor parts are from separate armor sets. Oh, really? I would not have called that. Okay, so like an upper-class aristocratic assassin sort of thing. Yeah, like, I think you're right that the red is actually a good touch here, because, like, when you have the whole outfit, which is primarily dark colors like blacks and grays and, like, very dull sort of blend into the shadows sort of colors, then having that one bright flash of red on top of it is like, because like red is associated with violence, it's associated with blood, as we talked about, right? It's associated with danger, it's associated with aggression. So like, it's lethality, right? So like having that one flash of red on it is a nice point of contrast. So like that definitely works from that perspective. I think in terms of like being a high-class aristocratic assassin thing, this, like when I think aristocrat, when I think someone who's like really high society, I think of impracticality. Like I think of stuff that's meant to look fancy, but also looks like it would get in the way of actually getting shit done, right? Like big corsets or there's like huge dresses and like very complicated outfits. This looks very practical for Final Fantasy XIV standard. Like not in reality, not in terms of realism. In terms of realism, this is extremely fancy, but from like a Final Fantasy XIV point of view, from a fantasy trope point of view, this looks a little practical for being like, sort of like ostentatiously high class, like someone who like shows off being very high class. The hat is more along those lines, actually. Like the hat does a better job of being like this showpiece thing that feels like, oh, this is something like an aristocratic elite would wear that doesn't make any goddamn sense for what they're doing, but they're wearing it to show off their, you know, class position and their power and their wealth. Where, again, like the boots are maybe an option where you could go with some slightly fancier footwear that looks a little less sensible for what you're doing. Because, like, what works about the footwear is it has this very sharp, edgy look to it that, like, if we're looking for assassin rather than aristocrat, right? If we're looking for assassin rather than aristocrat, then this works 100%. Like, the only thing I would say for that is, like, maybe something that looks less like you're wearing metal. Because, like, metal is loud and assassination tends to be a soft game of, like wearing soft, loose-fitting outfits and stuff like that that sort of don't make noise when you move. But no, absolutely, like this looks very much like someone who murders people for a living kind of thing, especially because all of the outfit is so black and dark and like dour in its expression, which works really well with your character, by the way, with like the bright white with the purple accents and like the dark skin on them. Like that all coordinates really well. So it's more a thing of, like, if you wanted specifically to lean into the idea this is an aristocrat, like, this is someone upper crust who assassinates people, like, as part of, like, their art, like, this is what my family has been doing for the last 700 years, we've been the primary assassins in the land of whatever, you might want to go with something that's a little less practical looking. Like, the dress is really good here, or change the color scheme a little bit, like, maybe have one thing that's bright white. I don't know if you could do that with the skirt. Like, if the skirt... No, that should not be bright white. That would not be good. What would work better? I mean, ideally, like, the ideal thing, I think, would be if you could, like, the same skirt, but if you could dye the inside red. Just the inside, but the outside remained the same color. That would be amazing. Like, because then you would be continuing the thing about the hat, right? Like, if you could get the inside of the sleeves or, like, a coat where you can get the inside dyed red while the outside is black, like, that would sort of play with that thing of, like, there's a difference between the display and the internal person. That works really well with an assassin, because an assassin is usually someone who hides who they are until they shove a knife in your back. Because, like, I agree with you. I really like that flash of red against all of this, like, very dour, down-to-earth, like, darkness. And that alone is, like, good enough. Like, in terms of if you want someone to look like they're like a lethal assassin who's very professional but also deadly, this works with gangbusters. I was thinking more just in terms of the description that you gave. But, like, that is really good, because, like, from over here, nothing. Then there's a little bit of gold, and you kind of go, oh, okay. And then blood red, and it's like, oh, shit, that's the drama. That's the drama right there. And, of course, the drama is revealed when the face is revealed. When you can see the face, you can also see the drama. When you can't see the face, when they're hiding their intentions, much more dull. Like that, just from a visual storytelling standpoint, that would work really well. Like imagine that from like cinematically, if an assassin walks into shot and you sort of get them from here at first, when it's like, what the hell is this thing they're wearing? Is that even a hat kind of thing? And then like they turn their head or the camera swoops and then you get this profile and it's like, oh shit, right. Like visual storytelling you can do with that hat from like a cinematography standpoint is excellent. Anyway. Aha! There you are. Oh. Oh, the little Olafel stands up to drive. Oh, that's adorable. That's very cute. Modern-ish... yeah. Okay, hang on. Just need to sit down to see ya. No, yeah, you've nailed that, I think. Shit, I don't know what to say about that. You've nailed that. Like, if you wanted something that looked like... Because, like, the leather coat thing and, like, the pants and the boots, that all gives the sense... The motorbike is perfect for that, by the way. Like, maybe a more modern-looking motorbike than that tractor thing, but... No, you've nailed that. That's... Yeah, like, that looks like a very modern accessory with, like, that classic... Like, it looks medieval, but in the way that someone would sell as part of a modern fashion brand. And the hat especially. Like, the Red Mage, like, the hat is essential to the Red Mage as a Final Fantasy character, right? Like, the red hat with the long white feather is the Red Mage thing. If you put that hat on anything, any outfit in Final Fantasy, if you put that hat on it, it can be a Red Mage outfit. That's just the way it goes. So, like, using that to ground the design is great. That's excellent, because then you can kind of do whatever with the rest of the outfit and still be a Red Mage. And I do like that you found a hat that has, like, a texture that really works with, like, the leather coat and, like, the jean thing that you've got going on here with the belts on it. That's, like, texture coordination is really fucking hard in any video game, and I imagine it must also be very difficult in Final Fantasy XIV. But you've done really well there. Like, if the brief is modern-ish Red Mage, nailed it. Like, 10 out of 10, that's absolutely perfect for that. Okay. Whew, that was a bunch of glams. You guys are so fucking good at this, it's very annoying. The vampire vibes here are fucking immaculate. Aw, sisters. This looks like 3 vampire sisters, right? Like the older one who's serious, the younger one who's trying to live up to their older sister, and then like the youngest one who's kind of silly. That's like a great lineup. Shit, that even kind of works with the color coordinate, because like this is all black, and then with red accents, that's all red with black accents, and then this is both red and black in like an equal mixture. That's fucking perfect. I don't know if you guys have coordinated this, but like, even accidentally. Oh, it's a boy? Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's a Vieira, you know. The veil is thin between the gender presentation there. But like, that's brilliant. Like, I don't know if you coordinated that on purpose, but that's brilliant. And they're even wearing a crown, like the little crown, which sort of indicates that they have aspirations of, like, glory or power or being in charge of things. That's a whole story right there. That's excellent. Not planned at all. Completely accidental, but... But that fucking works. Like, I love that as a trio of characters. So, from inside the circle of fashionable gays, thank you very much for watching Final Fantasy XIV with me. I am back after quite a long time of being away. And if you have enjoyed it, you should hit the like, comment, and or subscribe buttons down below, because that'll let you know when there's more. If you want to see more right now, before anyone else gets to, you can become a member of the channel or subscribe over on Twitch. On Twitch, you can see the full VODs of the streams, including stuff that happens in between episodes. And on YouTube, you get the edited episodes before anyone else. If you want to support the stuff I do, those are options for doing that. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. I am just grateful for your time and your attention that you stuck with me this far. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to be kind to one another, have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourselves, and may the tides of history wash gently over us all.